So we're having a little hammock chat today, talking about New Mexico State Parks, and we wanted to mention the New Mexico State Park Pass. They have a pass in New Mexico that allows you basically to camp for free once you get it, or if you want electric and water hookup, it's $4 a night. And if you have a site with full hookups, which are hard to find, you've really got to book them in advance, it seems like, then it's $8 a night, which is really, it's a killer deal.
But you got to book them up 6 months exactly in advance. Yeah, otherwise they book up.
Yeah, they do book up, because we bought the pass and then we're looking for some sites, and like we waited like 2 days after the 6-month time where you could start booking, because you can't book them until 6 months ahead of time.
It just
and there was like nothing left. There was one campsite left.
If you start searching 6 months, beyond 6 months in advance, it will show no availability. So once you're within the 6-month window, the availability for those types of sites open up. But their reservation sites are limited per campground, and the full hookup sites are very limited. And some campgrounds don't even have full hookups. They'll have electric and water, but not full hookups. So you just have to, unfortunately it's through Reserve America.
Which we're not really huge fans of.
They take their cut. They take a big cut for every reservation. I think it's per night. Or is it per reservation?
I don't know.
Either way, they take a big chunk of money for your reservation.
Well, especially if you're spending $4 a night.
Yeah, it's like, so if you want a full hookup site, pretty much, from what I've learned, you really want to reserve it, even when you're in the off season. The New Mexico State Parks website has photos, I think, for every single site, so you can check out how the site looks, and they have a little bit of details below on how level the site is or how close it is to certain parts of the park. But there's a website that I used as well called Campsite Photos. I really recommend using that site for at least New Mexico State Parks, because it shows photos of every single campsite, and they have a YouTube channel with a video of every single campground. So definitely we'll include the link below. I've found that a very useful site. But if you don't need full hookups or want full hookups, I think you can just pretty much come in and pick a site and pay. It's like honor system pay for off season. I think probably during the peak season you have to check in at the visitor center or something. I don't know. We haven't had to do that. We literally, there's an envelope and you fill it out for your site if you're not reserved. If you're reserved, they know you're coming and your site is free, hopefully.
Yeah. And if you don't have reservations, you just basically drive around and look for one that's got a green tag, and that means it's available for at least one night.
Yeah.
So then you could check it out for that night. But after that, it could be reserved the next night or whatever. So
this is something how you can tell when you're driving in. If it's got the $18 tag, that usually means it's full hookups. It'll have the site number on there. It'll say whether it's a reservation site or not. But this is what you want to pay attention to. If this is green, it's available. If it's red, it is reserved for that night, at least, if not longer.
But they do have some designated just for reservations, and some that are just drive up, one night kind of stays or whatever. But it's a really good deal. The park pass is $225 for out of state for the year. For the year.
And with that $225, you get your discounted rates for the night, or for their nightly rates, like Eric had explained, 4 or 8. Or
dry camping is free.
Yeah. So,
or electric is 4, and if you do get one that has full hookups, it's 8.
So if you are a dry camper, it is a steal, because most of their campgrounds, so far from what I've seen, as far as reserving it and researching it, are really nice campgrounds. I've seen a lot of mixed reviews, but we are used to New York State Park campgrounds, which are very similar amenity-wise to New Mexico, and
they kind of look like they've been built about the same time.
Yeah, it's a campground. It's not an RV park. It's a campground, and they have beautiful scenery. We've only been to 2 so far, but we have booked over 3 months of New Mexico State Park campgrounds to get the most of it, but also because there's just so much we want to see in New Mexico.
Yeah.
So
we're kind of doing the north now, and we're going to do the south later. So we'll let you know about the southern parks later on, but we stayed at Santa Rosa for a week, Santa Rosa State Park, and we are at Lake Heron State Park right now.
Heron Lake State Park.
And we're actually leaving Heron tomorrow, and we're going to check out another one.
Yeah.
So they've got great views. The only thing that I really kind of dislike, which I guess is how you get that kind of remote feel and that kind of out in the middle of nowhere feel with the gorgeous views. But to basically get out of the park to like the nearest like road to go into town or into town, it's like a 15-minute drive.
Yeah. And you're talking the town itself that you're getting to is not, you're not going to have like big grocery stores or repair shops or anything like big. These are remote areas of small towns, and we love that. But it is, you're going to drive. And so, I mean, but that's why we're staying at these campgrounds, because they're remote, they're beautiful. So Santa Rosa was the first one.
Yep.
That one does not have full hookups.
Just water and electric.
Dry camping and water electric sites. They have a really nice basic playground, which was right behind our site.
But there's no slide.
No slide.
Or swings.
But
no
it was cool.
swings.
It had like a little jungle gym climbing, rope climbing. It was cool. And then next to that is the bathhouse, which we learned we didn't need to use it because we have everything in our camper. But if you're tent camping or like a van lifer or whatever, and you don't have a bathroom.
Although we wanted to use it because we didn't have sewer hookup.
We would have preferred to use it, but they don't have, at least when we were there was no hot water.
Which we kind of read in reviews before.
I expected, yeah.
It's just, they're cold showers. So if it's 100 degrees out, who cares? That's great. But when it's like 60,
I read a lot of reviews of people saying that Santa Rosa is their least favorite, but we thought it was beautiful there.
Yeah,
the views
beautiful.
were gorgeous. We'll put in our video what site we were at, because we had a beautiful view from our site of the lake. I think all of the sites, if not most of them, have like a covered picnic pavilion area with.
But they do
table.
leak water.
They're not completely waterproof. With like a concrete pad, your spot itself is gravel. It's stone. Ours was pretty level. I read reviews that some weren't very level.
Well, no, ours wasn't.
No?
It wasn't that far off, but I was like all the way up on my leveling blocks on the one side.
Take that back. Ours was not level. Yeah. I think I read that on the thing for our reservation.
It wasn't,
tells you,
and it depends kind of where you park. Ours was a pull through, which I actually really liked.
Yeah.
So you pulled in, you got a loop. It just, where we parked anyways wasn't perfect. It wasn't far off.
Equipment, and it depends on how you park it. But basically, it was a really nice site. We could just take a little path to the playground or a little path to the bathroom, and then the loop that we were on was all full hookups, right? I think. Or sorry,
not
electric.
It was all electric and water, I think.
Okay, but then there's a couple of other camping loops. Even though there were people coming in through the night and stuff, or throughout the day, you felt like you weren't right next to anybody. That's what we like about these state parks.
It's nice and quiet, and
it's very peaceful. So then there's the lake there and the dam. So driving into Santa Rosa Campground, you drive over the dam, and it's really beautiful because it overlooks the lake on one side, and the other side, of course, it's just hills, and it's beautiful, the landscape. And then there's ramps to get into the lake if you want to go boating or fishing.
Yep.
What else do they have there? That's pretty much it, I think.
Yeah, that's about it. I mean, it's a pretty...
wildlife, though. There's
a lot of deer.
Antelope, not deer.
We saw a roadrunner. Oh, yeah, there's some form of antelope. They're not a deer.
Jackrabbits, jackalopes, whatever you want to call them. So
there's no jackalopes.
No jackalopes.
There's jackrabbits.
Yeah, but it's a pretty campground. I thought it was nice. I would go back there. After Santa Rosa, we came up to Heron Lake. So that was about, a 2-hour drive north, I think. And we saw a lot of sights on the way up here. Heron Lake, as far as the facilities, was similar, I thought, to Santa Rosa.
Looks a little more maintained, I guess, but not...
The sites aren't all exactly like cookie cutter though, like Santa Rosa. Heron Lake, the sites vary quite a bit. Like our site just has a picnic table and a fire ring. We do have full hookups here, and at Heron Lake they have full hookups, some with just electric and water, and dry camping sites.
All within like the same loop that we're in.
Yeah, one loop. So you get a good mix. Some of the sites have a covered picnic area, and those sites tend to have a view, like a beautiful view of either the mountains on one side or the lake and mountains on the other side. This campground is completely surrounded by gorgeous landscape, mountains, beautiful views. So it's gorgeous up here. We haven't checked out the bathhouse yet, so we don't know if they have hot water at this one. We'll check.
But we'll check it out and we'll let you know right here if they did or not.
Yeah.
So standard bathrooms here. This one actually doesn't have showers. It's just, you know, basically toilets and sinks and that kind of stuff. So you could always do the trucker bath in the sink. But very basic. Again, they're clean, they're maintained, but basic.
Like, they also have the lake that you can go fishing, boating.
Yeah.
I really think there's much more to it. There's some trails. Both campgrounds have really nice trails.
Yeah, they've got hiking trails kind of mixed in within throughout the park and everything.
By really nice, I don't mean like paved. I mean they're just they're
trails.
Trails, but they're really nice. They have pretty views and they're easy to maneuver. It's just, I think so far our experience with the New Mexico State Parks has been really good. I'm glad we got the pass. We did have a hiccup at Heron Lake with the cold. The nights get really cold here.
Got down to 5 degrees the other night, and I thought it was supposed to be 20 and it was 5. So definitely watch temperatures if you're in the off season, because we did crack the spigot, and so we didn't have water for a day. We had to wait for the maintenance to replace just the spigot top part. Okay, so for water hookups, if you have a faucet that looks like this, what happens is when you turn the faucet off, the water drains back down. So if it's gonna be cold, turn it off, unhook, and that kind of stuff. Fill up your tanks, run off your tanks for the night if it's going to be really cold. That way you don't ruin the faucet. They're actually designed for cold weather. So you don't need to heat them and that kind of stuff. You just need to turn them off. I mean, you could use heat tape and everything else, but if you turn them off, the water drains down, you're good to go.
But the park rangers were really attentive. They're very, I was able to get them on the phone, even though in the off season, the park ranger here apparently manages both Heron Lake and Elvado Lake, which is a little bit south of here. But he was quick to come and respond to our call, and he didn't make us feel like total idiots.
The maintenance guy kind of, I think, had it in his mind that we were total idiots.
Well, we are idiots, but
yeah, I mean, it was a stupid mistake that we made, and we were watching. Temperature's better now. I got a little thermometer, that kind of a deal, you know, that takes inside and outside temp of the camper. So, well, you know, the area and the camper. So,
but we are here later in the season, so if you're here during the summer, you're not going to experience that. But it's really quiet at both campgrounds we've seen. Like, you don't feel like you have people around you. We booked this site because it's on a corner and I work, so I wanted to make sure it was quiet, but there's no one to this side and there's a camper on that side and you don't even notice that they're there. So I like that about the state parks too, is you don't feel crammed in. So it's not like an RV park.
Yeah, so the Mexico State Park Pass is a great deal. You could literally camp for $200 for the year. Well, $225 for the year.
You can only stay for 2 weeks, so that's something worth mentioning. If
you got to move every 2 weeks.
Every 14 days, you have to leave that park. You can stay in the state parks, but you can't be in that park for more than 2 weeks. So we did 1 week at Santa Rosa, 2 weeks at Heron Lake, and we'll do 2 weeks at the next one before we leave New Mexico. And then we'll do the same thing on southern New Mexico. So
yeah, so definitely a great deal though. Even if you're just doing a few months, I mean, it's definitely worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, for $4 a night or $8 a night, or even free if you don't need those hookups.
Honestly though, I would live in these parks if I didn't have to work and we could just roam. I would just do that every 2 weeks, just move around.
Yeah.
So it's worth it if you're thinking about trying the State Parks Pass. I'd do it and check out as much as you can in New Mexico.
So the roads and everything at Heron Lake and Santa Rosa were, you know, kind of gravel, dirt roads. They're pretty smooth, so it's not like you're hitting big bumps or potholes or like those little, like, when they grade them, you get those little choppiness things or anything like that. It's all been pretty good.
You do have some great views from here. See behind me there's some cliffs and everything, kind of almost like a little gorge. And then most of the sites, again, they're gravel. They seem to be pretty level. Some of them slope down a little bit here and there, which is typical. Usually get a picnic table and a fire ring. And then, you know, some, like this one does have full hookups. You've got sewer, electric, and water right at your site. Some are dry, some only have water and electric. You got to check out their state park maps and they'll tell you what each site has. Most of them have a little fire pit. This one has a little grill. Some of them do have some grills too. This one also has that really nice little covered shaded area with the picnic table. So some of the picnic tables are nicer than others. Ours is kind of a rusted brown color. This one right here is a nice pretty painted gray. So I'm going to show you a couple more sites. So behind me is one of the back end sites. This is probably one of the smaller sites they have. You could still fit a decent sized camper in here. I wouldn't put like a 40-foot, you know, fifth wheel, but you could fit like our camper in there, like about a 30-foot camper in there. Again, pretty level, all stone. You've got a fire pit in the back, also a picnic table as well. All right, I'm going backwards here. Right over there. And then across from us, and that one had water and electric. Across from us is one of their pull-throughs, which I will show you right here. So you pull in and you got like, it's almost like a little U-shape. That's how they were at Santa Rosa as well, the pull-throughs. They're like a little U-shape. This one is actually full hookups as well. You've got sewer, water, and electric right behind me. And then their picnic table and everything is kind of off into the corner here. And they've got almost a little separate, little enclosed area here, which actually looks really nice. You got a little private area. Oh, and it actually opens up. Check this out. So there's actually a huge area back behind me here. I'll put what site this is right below. This is actually a really nice site. So if you're looking for one, this would be one of my picks. So our site was a back end site. Like Teresa said, it was kind of like the corner, so there's only somebody on one side of us. The other side is just some shrubs and trees and stuff before you get to the road. It is pretty spacious. It's nice and wide open. It was easy to back into. I actually haven't backed up since we left, so it's been a couple months. But I actually put it right where I wanted it. First try, which is rare. It usually takes me at least two. But as you back in the trailer, then you've got a nice wide opening spot. You got a picnic table and also a fire ring. And then
there's Teresa having some hammock time.
And then it just kind of backs up to just some shrubs and stuff. So you've got kind of a nice little separation between you and the sites on the other side. All right, guys, we will see you next time.
Bye, guys.